This is a brief addendum to the video I just posted, and I should have attached it, but I'll do it separately. Obama talking about the transition and the slips of the tongue that he has that are quite telling as far as I'm concerned. I'll attach that little screen capture. But the other comment I would have liked to have made on the first video is that Trump could have been beaten by a bag of marshmallows, and they decided to. And I think there is reason behind the Clinton thing. There's always a reason behind the way the world functions on the level of people behind the curtain, all that kind of stuff. But if the Democrats had allowed Bernie Sanders would have just cleaned up. I am convinced that Bernie Sanders would have cleaned up. And when they got rid of Bernie, for whatever reason, and I'm not saying that Bernie is, like I said, there's no such thing as a spectacular candidate. There's only people that act their conscience. And without that, we don't have a chance. But just a brief note I failed to mention that anybody could have beaten somebody like Trump, and Bernie Sanders would have done it hands down, and a bag of marshmallows would have done it too. I would like to just comment on the POTUS giving a little speech on Trump's victory. And what I'm going to just pick out briefly is a slip of the tongue, which gives me pause. It's very slight. It's not very, one is more clear than the other, but listen to this and I'll pause it.
So I have instructed my team to follow the example that President Bush's team set 8 years ago and work as hard as we can to make sure that this is a successful transition.
Okay, there you got it. That this is sex. What's on his mind? That this is a sex transition. So, you know, people have talked about the underbelly of our corrupt, degenerate system of people that run it. What's on his mind? Sex transition is the first thing. And I'm always quite perplexed how this country south of us is continuously priding and talking about how wonderful they are in transitioning from one leader to the next, like they're a bunch of hooligans and barbarians that have to fight it out in a ring and take the other one down. No, we're very civilized. They continuously remind us how civilized they are, and then the slip is anything but. And here's another slip I'd like you to hear about his comment on Clinton and what he really thinks of her.
For the president-elect, because we are now all rooting for his success in uniting and leading the country. The peaceful transition of power is one of the hallmarks of our democracy.
So that's what I'm saying. They're continuously patting themselves on the back for doing the right thing. That's all. You're doing the right thing. You don't have to continuously remind people how you're willing to give up power, which is very difficult on some level, obviously. But this is the nature of our society, that we recognize the rules and the structures within which we work. So why do you have to remind people all the time how you follow them? Because you don't follow them in all the other ways. But this, on the surface, appears to be a reasonable transition from one to the next. But here's the other slip.
And over the next few months, we are going to show that to the world. I also had a chance last night to speak with Secretary Clinton, and I just had a chance to hear her remarks. I could not be prouder of her.
Did you get that? I could not be proud of her. What a slip. You want to hear that again?
Just had a chance to hear her remarks. I could not be prouder of her.
I could not be proud of her. There you go. So I just thought I'd capture this, and I get such a peculiar feeling about them. These types always patting themselves on the back about every single one of them does it. That, hey, I'm going to give up power. Well, of course you are, because you're in a system called a democracy, that is predicated on the people's wish being fulfilled, which will never be done because the list on this fellow is very long of non-accomplishments and broken promises, from Guantanamo to transparency to I will remove all soldiers from Iraq and Afghanistan, and all the other promises that never happened. So corruption. This is anyone that still believes this is how the world actually works is I feel sorry for them. I really do.